get asked all the time on my channel, what resort should I stay at when visiting X? And the truth is, no one can really know that answer but you. Hi guys, Vanessa here and welcome to Passport Pages. And today we're going to be talking about how and why some of you are booking the wrong all-inclusive resorts. So I'll read things saying why a resort is the best, but at the end of the day, only you can decide what you'd like out of your vacation and which resort best fits that expectation. And I've read so many articles listing the same basic tips over and over, like make sure everything is actually included in your all-inclusive trip, and don't forget to tip, just things that are very basic and intuitive and not so helpful on a practical level. But in today's video, I'm going to get you thinking about some things that guests usually don't consider before booking their trip. And I guarantee, once you do think about these things, you're going to feel like you're getting your money's worth from your resort stay, which is especially important these days as travel is very much a luxury. So let's get you the best possible stay today on Passport Pages. So first, let's look at resorts with the wrong vibe. So this is one of those seemingly obvious things, but many guests do not consider this at all before booking. So let me be more specific when I say the wrong vibe, as in the wrong vibe for you. Style and decor aside, no one likes to say it, but resort vibes are usually very much dictated by the age of most guests. So now I'll be brutally honest. If you're a young 20-something guy looking to socialize, drink a lot, and meet young attractive singles, you do not want to go to a resort like Rosewood Mayakoba or Las Ventanas. Instead, you're going to want to go to a Hard Rock or Riu resort where you'd be much happier and feel like you're getting your money's worth, quite frankly. And of course, the opposite is true. If you're a couple in your 60s looking to relax on the beach and get some reading in, or a couple on your honeymoon looking for a romantic and peaceful stay, you probably don't want to book Melody Maker in Cancun, especially during spring break. So it's not enough to have a highly rated resort. It has to be the atmosphere that you're looking for on your vacation, which is why I always stress what the environment is like at every property I review, as well as who it would probably be a good fit for. Because what might be the best experience for one guest might be the worst for another. So make sure you look into what the atmosphere is like before booking, and I'll always do my best to let you know in each of my reviews. No authenticity. You don't hear as many complaints about this particular consideration, but some of us really want a truly authentic experience when we travel, even when staying at an all-inclusive resort, which, I'm going to be honest, is a lot harder to find at all-inclusives since brands usually tend to have streamlined style and decor and even dining all the same across the board at all their properties regardless of the locations. Now, of course, you have the option of exploring the local area off-site to get that authentic experience in culture and dining and history. And I know many of you love getting out and seeing the sights when you visit, while others of you don't feel comfortable with that, which is very understandable in the times we live in. So you just have to look for and know which properties give you a taste of the local area. And there are some, like Gran Velas and Cala del Mar, that do a great job of that. I know how it might seem like sometimes I focus too much in my reviews on describing the style and decor and even artwork and of course dining options, but that's so you guys know what experience you're paying for, whether it be generic or immersive to the local area. Because at the end of the day, those details do matter for some of us and really factor into our decision-making process. Wrong location. So right off the bat, when you hear wrong location, most guests focus on proximity to the airport, and that's definitely a factor to consider. How close is the airport? Do you want to be close for the convenience factor so you can get off the plane and be in your bathing suit on the beach with drink in hand 15 minutes later? Or do you want to avoid airplane noise? Another factor that most guests don't consider, but you will have to endure a windy 45-minute drive to the resort instead. And then, of course, in a case like that, you have to consider transportation. Is it included? Do you have to arrange for it separately? So a really important issue. But In my opinion, what's even more important to consider as far as your resort's location is what experience are you looking to have, which does tie into the location of your resort. Do you want an all-inclusive surrounded by a lot of local activities and touristy things to do, which many of them are, so that's pretty easy to find? Or are you looking for isolation and quiet where you just want a vacation to get away from everyone and everything? A lot of resorts in areas like Cancun in Mexico, or Montego Bay in Jamaica, or Punta Cana in the DR are going to be huge all-inclusive resort hubs, so they will be surrounded by activities and traffic and people, maybe more noise, but also be incredibly convenient to everything you could possibly want to do while on vacation. And then you have resorts in areas like Tulum and Puerto Vallarta in Mexico or La Romana in the DR, which offer much more laid-back and relaxing experiences, but you won't have many options for off-site activities and exploring. So once again, this is why I always tell you guys how far away the airport is and what the local area is like, because resort location and the surrounding area is definitely one of the biggest things to consider when picking a resort. No good room selection. In recent years, most resorts have gotten much better as far as room categories, and you can book everything these days, from single rooms overlooking the gardens to beachfront suites, swim-up rooms, villas, overwater bungalows, and everything in between, especially at all-inclusives, which are the best as far as room options go. But it's actually not as easy as all that. You have to really look at room availability and ask yourself some questions. And one of the trickier things that most people don't notice, or maybe don't want to know, is sometimes you'll see a higher room category option that's listed at a greatly reduced price, sometimes even pretty comparable to some of the lower tiers. And you might think, oh, that's because the suites or villas are normally too expensive, they're not filling them, so they're trying to motivate people to purchase. And that's sometimes true, but not always. You see, what most guests don't consider is room location. Is it on the first floor? And if so, is it near the pool or dining areas? Are people around this area late into the night? Is the view bad? All of those things factor into room pricing. So even if you have a beautiful, let's say, swim-up suite, one of the top category options, if you're being kept up all night by a lot of noise because you're on the ground floor, you're definitely going to feel like you're not getting your money's worth, no matter how reduced the rate was. So look into those things before booking. Resort reps can't always tell you which room location you'll get, of course, but look into whether you can switch to an equal category room if it's not satisfactory. Many guests have had success with that after much persuasion, while others end up out of luck based on resort capacity. So always ask yourself, why is this room so cheap if it would normally be priced much higher? Because if the rate seems too good to be true, it probably is. All marketing. So this is a big one, and I really considered not addressing it, but I'm always honest, so here we go. Some all-inclusive brands, certainly not many, but some, have entire divisions, sub-companies if you will, that are solely dedicated to marketing and pushing their brand down your throat all the time. And the point is so that you don't consider other options since that's all you're seeing. However, that doesn't mean they're actually putting out a quality product. You see this with a lot of brands, even outside of all-inclusives, but they spend so much on marketing that they over-leverage themselves and then don't have enough to put back into renovating rooms, expanding locations, training staff properly, and then the customer gets greatly disappointed when the product doesn't live up to what was advertised. I won't mention specific brand names since I don't want to get sued again, and that's also the point. I'm just a regular customer. I've never gotten compensated by a single brand. We pay for everything ourselves. I just happen to have a public platform to talk about our experiences. And if you say anything less than favorable about these brands, they have entire legal teams dedicated to looking for reviews and then sending out threatening letters. Very much a bullying style of business, so that customers like you guys only hear a one-sided view and never hear or even read the truth. So all of that to say, you should be very careful when picking an all-inclusive resort, because some brands are only perceived as being the best simply because they have hundreds of employees dedicated to suppressing honest reviews, which I learned the hard way a year ago. I will actually name a specific brand as being consistently the absolute best in quality, and that's the Excellence brand. No matter what location you choose, when you go, they always provide a wonderful experience and great service. And the interesting thing is, they do very little marketing. Their brand and quality speaks for itself, so they don't have to. Disney World is another brand. People trash them all the time, and they don't care. There are a million Disney review channels on YouTube, and they let them say whatever the hell they want to say. Why? Because they're Disney. They're coming from a place of strength and not weakness, and they know people will keep going no matter what reviewers say. So if you guys don't believe me, just Google reviews about resort brands, which I suggest you do anyway, read TripAdvisor, check out Better Business Bureau comments, all very eye-opening and helpful. As I keep saying, money isn't stretching as far these days, and travel is a luxury for all of us, myself included. So really do your homework, watch my reviews, read others' opinions, and be sure you're paying for a good experience before you book that next resort. So from atmosphere to room selection, there's a lot to consider when booking your all-inclusive resort. And the biggest advice I can give you is to make a list of your priorities and rank them. There's a perfect resort for everyone. It just might take a little bit of work and research to decide on the best one for you. And I really hope to always help you guys in that decision-making process. This is Vanessa for Passport Pages. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye, everyone.